Too Much Drama TV and H1INC here. And usually we talk about sports on podcasts, but right now we're going to talk about race. And for those of you who are colorblind, I'm a white guy, and Too Much Drama is a black guy. So what do you think?
Oh, man, I think race is always a sensitive subject, man. I mean, since the beginning of time, man, everybody is real sensitive when it comes to race. And I think we're all black when the lights go out, man. I know that's a funny saying, but it's true. And a lot of people need to realize that and stop acting like morons when it comes to race. I don't know, what do you think about what I just said, man? Because I know you did a video about that earlier, and it made a lot of sense.
Basically, to sum it up, I think racism stems from ignorance. If that's all you were taught when you were young is that, white people owned slaves and they did this shit back in the 60s, then you might think like all whites are evil or something like that. But
yeah, and that's not true. That's not true. Like, you're going to have ignorant black people, ignorant white people, ignorant Hispanics, ignorant Asian people. I mean, every race is ignorant. Like, I remember you said something earlier about why would I get mad at the whole Japanese race because of Pearl Harbor?
Right.
You can't get mad at the whole race. And like, black people have this thing, and this is coming from a black man, because I've been suspect of that too, of taking my frustrations out on the next black person for something that their ancestors did 300 years ago, 200 years ago. And I think that's unfair, but it's just kind of a culture thing or a mentality, and mainly it has a lot to do with music and sometimes movies and sometimes just everyday living, depending on what environment you grew up in.
Right. I agree. And I think that, like you said, too, going back to the Japanese thing, like, I can't hate all Japanese people. If there's a cool Japanese dude, I'm going to think he's a cool dude regardless of Pearl Harbor. I mean, it'd be ridiculous for me to hold him accountable for what – it may not even be his ancestors. It's just his race. I mean, he may not have been related to anybody down his line that was ever involved in that. You know what I mean? So – to assume that every white guy was related to somebody that owned slaves is kind of ridiculous. And at the same time, and I didn't touch on that in the video. I mean, I kind of did. I said that, anybody that's racist is just ignorant, number one. But it does go both ways. I mean, yeah, obviously I'd be stupid to say I don't know that racism towards blacks from whites exists. I mean, I don't experience it and haven't experienced it in my daily life, but I've seen movies, I've seen videos. I mean, I know there are racist white people out there. And I just think racism stems from being ignorant. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and another thing is, I mean, you think about the month of February. Black people, they get mad or they take Black History Month. They take that shit, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, Black History is a time to celebrate being a Black American and living in America and stuff. But the books, so some of the stuff that they teach you in school, some of it's kind of negative and stuff, and there's always cover-ups. Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. Abraham Lincoln owned slaves. Just a whole bunch of different stuff like that. And I noticed these days, like I said, I've been suspect of it too. You can't even tell a black joke without a black person getting mad. And if you were to tell a black joke right now, I'd be like, that was funny. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's fucked up. That's just kind of how, society is these days,
Yeah, and I mean, I tell jokes of all kinds, like whether it's a white joke, black joke, Asian joke. If it's funny, I'm going to say it. But at the same time, I know there's sensitivity to it. We were talking earlier about, you got pulled over by the cops one time, and you thought it was racist, right? So, and I could understand why.
Racist, but racial profiling. I want to say race. I want to say racial profiling. There's a difference between being a flat-out racist, like, okay, nigger, pull over, then, hey, pull over, you fit the description of this other black guy.
Right, and what I want everyone to hear, too, is what I was telling you is when I was younger, 16, 17 years old, I got pulled over all the time. I wasn't even speeding, but I lived in a really small, like when I moved from California to Texas, I lived in a really, you know where Lakeway is. It's just a small town. Like, you don't want to get pulled over in Lakeway no matter what color you are. But if I was a black guy, I would think that there was big-time racial profiling going on because they fucked with me all the time. So I can see where some of it comes from, like if a black guy gets pulled over for no reason, after a while, you're gonna think like, come on, man, there's something more than just me being young. It's got to do with you being black. But we were also talking about, and this goes with a lot of different races, but people that don't keep their tags current, their registration up, and they drive a hoopty with like spinners or swangers on them. You're just asking to get pulled over too at that point.
Yeah, music, tinted windows. I mean, a car that a dope dealer rides. And the thing about me, dude, it's sad, but this is true, man. Ever since I've been behind the wheel, if I see a cop behind me, bro, there's times where I will just pull over because I'm so afraid that I'm going to get pulled over. I mean, there's times where I ain't even had a warrant, and I'm like thinking, damn, do I have a warrant? Am I good? Am I okay? Am I all right? Is the music too loud? I have factory speakers, and I pull up next to a cop, and I turn my shit all the way down because you never know. You never know. You know what I mean?
No, I know.
You can have.
Go ahead. No, sorry. I was just going to say that cops, that's almost like a whole other race. That's almost like, I know everybody gets messed with by the cops, and it's like, I think there's definitely going to be some dirty cops that racially profile, but I think a lot of them are on quotas. I remember we did that video over a year ago, and remember you saw like two cops. You were talking about the cops, and you saw two cops pulling people over, and it's like, man, I went to Dallas recently, and on the way there, man, I saw 10 cops pulling people. That's a lot. I mean, I know it sounds like, well, that's a few hundred miles, so 10's not that much. That's a lot. 10 on I-35, dude. So, I mean, they're on a quota system trying to make their money. And, once they get you caught up in the system, they just keep pulling you over and all that. But, no, I know what you mean. They make you almost feel like a criminal when they get behind you. You're like, man, do I have a warrant?
And tell me why is like, let's say I get pulled over. Why does it take 4 or 5 cops? Why does it take 4 or 5 cops to pull one guy over? Or one cop pulled me over, and there's like 4 or 5 cars coming. I'm like, what are y'all going to do to me? That shit does not look good at all. I've seen black guys and a lot of Hispanic guys. We're closer to the border than somebody in Kansas. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've seen Mexican guys get pulled over, or one Mexican guy, and there's like freaking 5 or 6 police cars. Like, does it really take all 5 of you guys to do something to this guy's 5'6"? Are you kidding me?
Man, this race thing, I just think, like you said earlier, it's never going to go away. I don't expect it to go away. I just don't like. Let's talk about what we were talking about earlier. I don't like the Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton proposing to be leaders of the black community. That's just ridiculous to me.
Man, you know that saying, the freaks come out at night. These motherfuckers only come out when it's convenient for them, when they get, camera time, when they're getting paid for this stuff. I mean, I remember I mentioned the whole thing about Michael Jackson. I mean, even when Michael Vick got in trouble, they tried to pop their head out, and I think the black community is kind of stupid and blind. But I do notice this one thing that we didn't talk about, Corey. There's more people that would rather listen to Lil Wayne. If Lil Wayne came out and made a song about something controversial in the black community, I think more people will listen to him than Jesse Jackson or that ignorant bastard Al Sharpton. That's my opinion on that.
I agree. I agree, and I think that's good and it's bad. I mean, you're talking about a whole culture listening to a rapper over. But, I mean, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson are just horrible. And like you said, see, the thing is, and I know we talked about it and you made a comment on the video, anybody that just slams on black people or white people and paints with a broad brush just saying the whole race is idiots, they're the idiot. And, I mean, it's like after that Trayvon Martin thing happened, that George Zimmerman guy's not even white to begin with. That'd be like Tiger Woods shooting somebody, and they're saying, well, he's half white, so he's a white guy. I mean, come on. But so the thing is, I heard from a buddy that 2 black dudes beat up some old white guy yesterday or the day before, and they said, yeah, that's for Trayvon Martin. And it's like you and I were talking earlier. You said you see these videos of in the 60s, blacks getting hosed by white guys and stuff and beat up and stuff. And dude, I'm telling you, obviously I'm white and in the white community, whatever the hell that means, right? But, dude, that pisses white people off too. So does that piss – I mean, I know that's just a general statement, but did you get pissed off? Like, would you get pissed off if you heard that 2 black dudes just beat up some old white guy and said that's for Trayvon Martin? I mean, you're not like one of these dudes that cheers that on because someone else got away with something, so some old white guy that doesn't deserve to get his ass kicked, right?
No, when O.J. Simpson committed that murder, because I think he committed that murder with Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. When I was young, I was around a lot of angry black people. So at the time, I was like, yeah, OJ, yeah, go for him. But as I got older and more mature, I realized, OJ, you're fucked up, man. And the whole Trayvon Martin situation, there's a whole bunch of cases out there. There's white guys, there's shit that's happening to white kids all the time about black people that we don't know about. There's a lot of stuff that's happening to black kids that we don't know about. So I think it's even, you know what I mean? And about the thing with the 60s, the reason why that pisses me off, because they just show it all the damn time, They show it all the time. I mean, it's in the history book. And to see what Martin Luther King stood for and the fact that these people were so brutally mean to him and burning down churches. I mean, you're disrespecting churches and stuff. I mean, I understand how you feel about religion, but just the fact that a lot of these, quote-unquote Ku Klux Klan people or Southerners took a lot of pride in beating black people and hurting them physically and really getting mad over because they're darker than them. It really ticked me off, because if I would have been alive back then with the mentality I have, I would have been dead too. I mean, let's just be real. There's probably more educated white people than black people. Like, we'll take you, for example. You read books, right? I know, we talk and stuff. You're like, hey, I got to read this. I got to finish reading this book. I'll hit you up later. I'm like, wow, that's impressive, man. Last time I read a book when I was in college. You take an average black guy and go up against the average white guy. Average white guy probably has a high school education, probably has a college education, and he probably reads. You take a lot of people, go to Starbucks, go to the mall, look and see who's reading and who's not reading. Look and see who's always trying to figure out some new ideals. It's usually white people. I mean, a lot of my friends, a lot of people that I'm acquainted with, a lot of them are trying to be rappers. And a lot of my white friends, they're trying to be more advanced and I mean, you got the corny preppers and shit, but you got people that are reading books and trying to educate themselves beyond college and stuff like that. And a lot of my black friends are too busy trying to be either rappers or they're still stuck in that mindset that, that white people owe them something, so they should just live in the system and just kind of just be there, be stuck. You know what I mean?
Well, why do you think that is, though? Because I know we have mutual friends that I'm not saying are like uber successful, but take Bo for example. I mean, he's a pretty smart dude. I think he went to college. He's not a dummy by any means. He's got a job that he's had consistently for a while. He's respectful. He's pretty well spoken. But he also raps, but he's not a dummy either. You know what I mean? Look at Sosa. I don't think he's, he may not read all the time, but I don't think Sosa's a dummy. You know what I'm saying? But why is it that the guys that you're talking about, why are they stuck in that mind frame that white people owe them something? Like, I mean, I know a lot of white people personally and on YouTube that I made friends with that aren't doing well financially, that are struggling just like any black guy. And they don't think anybody owes them something. But that's what I think it is too. I think the government perpetuates this racism bullshit to a certain degree to keep white people and black people fighting amongst each other. But really, it's like there's a lot of problems that are causing poverty, not black and white stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it all has to do with growing up, because I grew up in a bad neighborhood and that whole 9 yards or whatever. And I've heard, I grew up with blacks and Hispanics. And I would always hear, man, dog, I want to move to Westlake. I want to move to a rich white neighborhood. I want to date this white girl. And I want to do this. If I get a white girl, then, I can do this. So I think it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing. People see white people and they quickly assume that they're going to be smarter, successful. People see a black person, they're going to think they're faster, stronger, and bigger, and shit like that. And that's just kind of how it is now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's hard to digest that, but that's just how it goes. I mean, I've been to interviews, Corey, and I've seen guys that come in there dressed, like fucking morons with pants sagging off their ass with an attitude because they don't get hired. What do you expect?
Right, and that's the thing. Since I've known you, you've always had one or two jobs. And a lot of people we know, they don't even look for jobs.
Yeah, they don't look for the thing is, okay, I was thinking about this on my way to work, Corey. This is why I respect Mexicans. Because 10 Mexicans, you can take 10 Mexicans right now or tomorrow morning, go to your local Home Depot or Lowe's. There'll be 10 Mexicans out there ready to work. They're willing to do whatever it takes to work. I can't get a black dude to, hey, man, I'll pay $50 to cut my grass. Look, are you crazy? There's, for every 10 Mexicans that are out there trying to work and do something positive to be a citizen there, you got 10 wannabe rappers out there, man.